Welcome to the January 2018 Seaboard Central layout update, everyone. 2018 is going to be an exciting year for the Seaboard Central. And this month, we're going to talk about operations and how the layout is operated. So while the engineer is looking over his power in the shop, let's look over some paperwork of what the conductor would use when he's operating on Seaboard Central. We're over here at the Griffin Yardmaster desk, and here's where you see some car cards, but they're not used for the actual operating session, but to set up the operating session. And these car cards have information about each one of the cars that goes to each one of the industries, and you'll notice on the boxes are the alphanumeric class code associated with each one of the industry. Now the conductor gets a copy of an industry work order on all the locals based out of Griffin. And on this industry work order there's information about each industry that this particular local is responsible for. And if you'll look, it has things like the conductor needs to check with a rip track foreman. Here's G13, which is Norcom, and shows the pulls and the place cars. Here's one for the track supervisor. There's no work on this particular day, but G18 and G22 both have work. Here's some pulls and places. And on G22, which is AEP Industries, over here in this local column you actually see information about the actual spot each car needs to go to in the track. Now once the conductor looks over his industrial work order, he'll want to look at the track inventory switch list. And this gives an inventory of every car in the track in the yard that he needs. And here's 3 tracks that are in South Yard. And you look, here's South Yard 1, 2, and 3. And here's the car numbers. And these are listed from west to east. The load empty column. Here's the car type. If it's loaded, there's the commodity, an abbreviation of the commodity, and the class code. Some of these are for industries, and some of them are for actual outbound class codes. For instance, track 3 is full of outbound cars. Most of the cars needed on the industry work order are actually found in South Yard 2. So let's get started and leave the shop with our engines and make the first move. Using the Proto throttle, we're going to bring a set of power out of the shop, activating the bell. One of the first things we need to do is go over to the rip track. If you'll see in this area, I actually did some work on the track, weathered the track, added a little bit more detail. Something else I did was weather this concrete and asphalt pad. This will be where a future back shop is located. Something else I did was add some switch stands. Add a little bit more detail. Something that I normally see every day in the yard. We'll couple up to these empty hopper cars that were pulled from the ballast pit on last night's switcher. This month I worked on 3 cars that are located on the rip, added cut levers and some new magnetic air hoses from North American Railcar Corporation. Those are real tricky to add, but they work. Let's watch as the local couples up to these cars on the rip. Here's a close-up shot of those magnetic air hoses, along with the uncoupling lever that I added to that covered hopper on the tank car and on this box car. We're going to pull these cars over to the yard. Since track 4 is open, we'll run through it to get to the other end of the yard. As we're coming downhill in the yard, I have the throttle in idle. And with the drive hold, I can lock the speed step in and simulate exactly how I'd run the real thing. As the yard bottoms out, I can add some more power to keep the train moving. Looking at the track inventory switch list, you can see I have 2 loaded guns going to Alabama City on the west end of South Yard 1. And I also have some more cars going to Alabama City on the west end of South Yard 3. So let's pick up those 2 loaded guns and shift them down to track number 3 along with the rest of the cars that we pulled from the rip. In order to get the cars to fit into track 3, I'm going to need to take them to the green line. The green line is something that we use on the prototype to mark the clearance point in the track. While the crew is finishing up their work, I'll show you some more things that got done over the past month, including adding a derail to this to Blaze Metals and Recycling, and also adding an electrical box on the side of the vacant warehouse with some wire going up to that transformer. Also added another derail over here protecting Norcom. And here's the 2 box cars that are ready to be pulled from the industry. Something else I did this past month was build this Woodland Scenics gazebo for the wedding scene. And I think that adds a nice little touch. Makes it actually look better than it did. I'm glad I added it. And also weathered this track going around this spur right here. I looked at some photographs online, tried to make it look old, barely used, rusty old rail, because it doesn't see much service. Lastly, I added this pile of old cross ties that's been stacked up. As soon as enough of them end up over here, we'll bring a gun in for them to be loaded up and shipped out. A little more about the Proto throttle. Here's the receiver for it that plugs into the NCE cab bus. Also works the same way if you have a lens system. Now, for those of you that have Digitrax, you're going to have to wait probably the summer when the Proto throttle actually is going to be released to the public. It'll be wireless and work through the LNWI system on Digitrax. A little more information about the Proto throttle. It has this strap on the back that you can run your fingers through, and also has a place on the bottom to hook a lanyard. The LCD screen allows you to scroll through. You can set a new loco address. You can, however you have your functions on your decoders, you can change the notch configuration. It's a lot. You can go through these and up and down keys. Also, this large button is actually an auxiliary button where you can use one of the functions on your decoders, along with these two right here. This one right here, I actually have for the coupler crash, and I have this one mapped for my dynamic brake, which is just an on and off, and this one is for drive hold, since I have Loke Sound full throttle decoders. Anyway, this is fun. If you haven't seen it, check out the protothrottle.com website, and you can see an operating session on the Seaboard Central. And so, until next month, we'll see you later. And thanks for stopping by the Seaboard Central.